cultural reality. And you're probably wondering, what is that? Well, believe it or not, your reality is not the only one out there. And we're going to look at a couple of other realities. So chill out, my friend, and let's take a break from our own reality, at least for a couple of minutes here. Now, the best explanation I can give you for what cultural reality is to tell you to look around at your friends, your neighbors, those with shared experiences, common interests, and yeah, geography plays a role as well. Now, I find it a fascinating topic that just no one wants to talk about, and I don't get that. That who you are as a person, to your core, is because of the cultural reality you were born into. Your religion most likely is the one your parents and grandparents practiced, as well as a lot of your overall belief systems, attitudes, feelings, and thoughts that make up your individual reality. Those that you also probably share with a lot of your friends. Now that I've told you what cultural reality is, let me really fuck with your mind, because now I'm going to talk about consensual reality, which is a reality that is based on truth. Forewarning, this is complicated stuff that even I'm struggling to understand. And no, reality was never meant to be easy, especially for those who think seriously about reality. The easiest way to define consensual reality is that's a concept or a reality that a group of people accept as truth. Christians with different denominations all over the world have a consensual belief in Jesus and his teachings, yet there are a lot of different denominations. Reality is a thing that I'm guessing anyone who has ever existed has spent at least a little time wondering about, so much so that a lot of people have come up with all kinds of realities. Existentialism, which is all about the meaning of life; mathematical realism, which states that things exist independently of human thought and cannot be invented, only discovered. There's relativism, metaphysical realism, objective and subjective realism, personal reality, social reality. Damn, there's just so many realities out there. You can pick your own. And of course, we've created some of our own realities now, especially with virtual reality. What I've been talking about with all these realities is nothing but philosophical thought on the nature of reality. And yeah, there's some interesting thoughts there. Now, I do need to tell you that when it comes to these philosophical thoughts on reality, they are divided into two types of reality, and the first is called naive direct realism, and the second is what the smart people know as scientific realism. Naive direct reality is established in our senses. What we can see, touch, hear, feel, and reality is what we experience. Science has given it the name of naive, because they must believe that most humans are naive about the reality they experience. But that's my opinion, in my opinion alone. Scientific reality, well, that's an idea that the universe is real, and the science will lead us to the truth of all things, and that there are things outside of what we experience. Things like atoms and molecules that exist in their own reality. Now, that all kinds of makes sense because, in my reality, both of those realities exist together, but that's my world. When it comes right down to it, though, reality is a bit different for each of us. And that's because we all interpret, perceive things in our own personal way. You might not see the same shade of green I see, or where I'm open to the mysteries of life, you might have slammed that book shut. And there is a lot of truth in that your reality is what you make of it. Now, when you use truth and reality in the same sentence as I just did, there's an awful lot of room for confusion, because the reality is there's often a vast separation between truth and reality. A lot of people believe this or that. They have their own personal truths, and that very well might be their personal reality, but it ain't their neighbors, and it ain't the reality for a lot of other people. But unfortunately, there are also those people who think their reality should be everybody's reality. But that's just downright unacceptable, because they're thinking Their personal truths should be the law of the land. Now, I'm just going to finish this little video with a thought about timelines and multiple universes. And when you start thinking about shit like that, there gets to be some pretty interesting thoughts on reality. Enough to give us all a friggin' headache. You know, I'll say this, reality's weird enough that we don't have to go making shit up. That's all I had to say. Yeah, I know, there's a lot of different kinds of views on reality and what they are out there. It's an interesting topic. But you know what? One thing that people, you know, when it comes to who the core you are, I wish people would give that deep thought. I mean, everything in your life makes who you are today, because you are born with a clean slate. And maybe there's genetic predispositions to some things. I get that, you know, but just your belief systems, how you feel about things, how you look at people. We should be able to modify a lot of that. I mean, like our religious beliefs. Shouldn't we be old enough to, or get to a point in our life, at some point in our life, where we realize that we were taught one thing, but my beliefs might be something else? I'm just an old man, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, old. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a good one, my friends. Enjoy. I'm out of here.